And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place.
You are not content with stories. Somebody's lives come. Be my victim.
Through watching scenes of violence, through watching scenes of transgression, through watching scenes of horror. There's an enormous amount of sort of abattoir of excess.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Good evening, science appreciators. How are you doing? We are in episode 55 of Double Feature Horror Show, and most of us are fully well and not dying.
Man, I heckin' love science.
So,
I love
more
life.
details. I'm afraid, guys, I have got the coof, and as far as I understand government life guidelines, so have you now. Bad luck about that.
Oh no.
I know, what an opener to the show. But I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to be fine because I may be perishing, but I am joined by some fantastic co-hosts. I have Haryan. How are you doing, sir?
I am very good, thank you. I don't have the coof at the moment, but it feels like most of my family do. Though luckily we're not all in the same household. It seems to be having a resurgence from what I can see, but it does seem to actually just be a bad cold at this point. So
Yeah. But TBH that, but you also lose your appetite if my experience is anything to go by. But not only Haryan, we've also got our second regular co-host back after a week off.
Yeah.
He's pretty fly for a crime guy.
Oh God, you did it! You actually did it.
It's TCG.
Oh, it's one of those ones where you actually pre-warned me you were going to do that, and I still got surprised. What up, my shillers? Yeah, it's really good to be back. Really good to be back. I have to ask: in the event of your untimely demise, die quietly.
What makes you think that?
Well, okay. Are you going to be able to tag in wholesome waifu if it gets too much?
I might say,
was she having to isolate?
Waifu, come and pine, please.
That's it.
We
Hot
need
tag.
Opinions. I might do that. Yeah. Well, if something from the wrestling arc rubs off on me, and I'll just do a quick tag. I mean, all this work has been to give her a rub. Yeah. Is that how
you can
say
go there?
it?
Right, Maverick. Yes, okay. No, that's a good suggestion. I'm going to change it right now.
Excellent. And I see everyone we know and love is in the comments here. We are getting into it fairly soon. I have had some shocking criticism. Fez, I was told in good faith that the clocks may have gone back forward an hour, but then they slipped back or something. I believed it. What's the problem? Shocking. They're accusing me. Terrible. But and also I see Fez, you've asked about this. I do have to work a bit of George Sanders into another thing that we'll have on soon. But I need to be well enough to actually do some more extended editing. But we're going to get some George Sanders in, and I do really want to cover Village of the Damned. But the only trouble is, do I get George Sanders in the classic Village of the Damned, or do we get Mark Hamill for the remake by John Carpenter? You know,
is that a superior horror remake? Would you say?
Oh my gosh, what a segue. What a seg. Guys, I can't talk around any longer with a segue that good. Well, I wouldn't say it's a superior horror remake, Haryan, but I can show you some that are. Oh, so smooth, guys. We've just practiced at this now, aren't we? I should probably say, for people who are new to this stream, just in case you're a random David Cronenberg appreciator who stumbled on a film looking for some good analysis of one of your favorite movies, this is Double Feature Horror Show. We do a horror topic for about 20 minutes or so, unless we're talking about the BBFC, in which case it's an hour. And reportedly 5 hours if you listen to audience feedback. And then we talk about a horror film in depth. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, do stick around and subscribe. Swat that like button like it was a fly that was about to ruin your entire existence.
You see that subscribe button, you aim your shotgun at it and wait for it to aim it at its head, and you make sure you pull that trigger on it.
I'm currently looking at the chat numbers, and we have 18 flies on the wall. If you haven't liked, five, six likes now. I was one of the guilty parties.
Numbers, chat. These are rookie numbers. Get those up. Come on.
You vomit on that like button.
You disintegrate that thumb.
Yeah, we want praise for this show, this channel to come streaming out of your mouth like it was just a flow of very powerful dissolving digestive enzyme. That's what I want from you, chat. You basically drag friends to this channel like it was a teleporting pod, and you pick them up in a bar. I'm very ill, guys. I don't know where I'm going with this, but anyway, any way you fancy showing your appreciation is much appreciated. Two of the ways I would rate most highest is spread the good word. If you know people who are interested in horror films, or even just a particular film that we are covering, let them know about the channel. Give them a link, invite them along, and maybe they'll have a good time. And the other way, of course, is you can put some coins in my pocket via Susan, or if you do not want to give Susan any of your hard-earned shekels, I do, of course, have a subscribe star that I would really encourage you to go to. I'm going to be putting out some exclusive content on there, which I'm recording in Easter, which you should find very interesting. But I am not going to delay any longer. I think we did some lovely professional YouTube shilling there.
Well, we talk about Susan, but I just wonder how long it's going to be until Elon Musk owns YouTube, the way he's going.
Oh, Daddy Elon, please. Imagine how good that would be.
I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I personally, I'd like
YouTube
someone from the board of. I'd want someone on the Twitter board of directors to be on this stream. So, Elon, if you're listening to this, you're more than welcome.
There you go.
Talk about your favourite horror film.
Absolutely. All right. So we got 18 people in chat. I'm really happy with that. So welcome everyone. We're going to get into it, and I want some feedback from you in this. This is a proposed topic. This is just suggestions. We're not saying it's definitive. But I just thought, since we're covering The Fly, which is itself a remake of the 1958 The Fly starring the incredible Vincent Price, I thought we'd talk about superior horror remakes, because I think this is one of the go-to examples of it. But I thought let's throw some others out there. So the most obvious one has got to be The Thing, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm looking at that list, right?
No, there's The Thing.
I'm looking at that thing.
Wait.
And and I'm just trying to think. I've seen both the Friday 13th. I've seen both the Dawn of the Dead. I haven't even seen any of the Pet Sematary films. I've only read the book. The Hills of Eyes, I've seen the remake. The Thing, I've seen the remake. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I think the original is still on BBC. And I know when we covered The Thing, I said I was going to watch it. Still haven't got around to it. So I can't compare. And Knock Knock, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Ah. Knock Knock is a very sneaky one. A very sneaky remake indeed. I didn't even know Knock Knock was a remake. Because it's not a remake of a film called Knock Knock. It's a remake of a film called
Who's there?
Death Game. Yes, there's an exploitation flick called Death Game,
Right.
which is borderline porn, and fairly badly done. But Eli Roth is what can I say? He's like Quentin Tarantino. He likes his rough exploitation movies. He kind of loves them. But he made Knock Knock as a much more polished version, as you can see. It's got Keanu Reeves in it. Fez, yes, it was Spanish. You're a font of knowledge, sir. Yes. My gosh.
Nice.
My gosh, Fez. Fez with the fairly deep lore on that one. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We are going to cover Knock Knock, but I'm unsure where to put it. We could do a home invasion arc.
Ooh.
Or
Isn't that one about a blind man that's pretty good?
yeah,
Oh, that's oh my
Don't
god, what's that
Breathe.
called? Don't Breathe. There's that. They made a sequel of that as well.
yeah. The director is really good. His name's slipping my mind at the moment, but he did the Evil Dead remake that I absolutely love. I haven't got it up on here, but he is really good. His name has slipped my mind. I'm going to quickly look him up because it's driving me a bit mad. How about Evil Dead? Have you seen both the original Evil Dead and the remake? Either of you?
Well, neither.
Yeah, no. I've seen the original.
Okay.
Seen the original. Oh, what I was going to say is Friday the 13th is a bit of a controversial one up on there to have as a remake. Maybe
I
a
figured I'd be
requel.
controversial. Yeah.
I was to say that's more of a requel because I'm just thinking because myself and my wife, me and my wife watched that not long ago, and they referenced the first movie in that, and yeah, they reference it when they're telling the story. It's in the opening scene when they go out, and they talk about the events of the first film.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's more of a requel, if anything.
That's an interesting one. I think it's a tricky one. It does sort of play it both ways in a way that doesn't make... You can quibble it, basically, because if this is happening after all the others, you sort of have trouble putting together the fact that Jason goes through the motions of getting his iconic look together.
It's true. That's true. That happens in this one, yeah.
Because I think we've mentioned it before, guys. You're used to seeing Jason with a machete and a mask in a work suit. That does not happen until Friday the 13th, Part 3. You are sticking around a long time. I've got a little bit of an internet strength warning here. I'm hoping we last. Do let me know if everything's all fine for you, chat. I want to be sure here. If I'm roboting, let me know.
You sound good so far.
Okay, fantastic. The warning sign's gone away. Let's stick on the Friday the 13th thing, because the thing I really liked about this one, the remake, was that because the original series is so varied, they try so many different things. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. This the 2009 one, one of the original Platinum Dunes remakes. That comes about and it has a time to look at what worked and just put all the things that worked in one film.
Yeah, definitely. This was a solid film, I have to say. Like, for me, as long as it's got Jason, it's got horny teenagers that are ready to be killed, and it's got tits, then it qualifies as a Friday the 13th film. One of the things I was worried about.
You're a simple man.
I am a simple man with simple pleasures, but there are certain rules. Randy says, there's certain rules to horror movies. I have certain rules when it comes to Friday the 13th films. If it doesn't have one of those three, all right, bar the first one, of course, because it actually does have Jason in that one. But if it doesn't have any of those three things, then it's not a Friday the 13th film. And I was worried when I first saw this one. I was like, mate, it's 2009. It's not the 80s anymore. They're not going to be able to get away with. Oh my God, they're actually referencing them as well. I'm sorry, but "Your tits are stupendous" has to be my favourite ever line quoted said in a horror film ever. I still quote it to this day. Again, when we were watching this, when it came to that scene, Oh my god, man! Me and my wife were in stitches, and, we couldn't believe it. At the end, it was like he only said it once because we remember that scene so differently.
Yeah, no, I love it, and Jared Padalecki is great because there's lots of they've got this Asian guy who, weirdly for an American film, he's like the cool stoner comedy guy.
Yeah,
and it's sort of an interesting character, and the guy is really funny. He's brilliant in it, and they're doing all the fun stuff, all the kind of goofy stuff, and then Jared Padalecki is trying to add a bit of heart into it, which I think is quite good. Jared Padalecki, of course, from Supernatural. I'm sure.
I thought you were going to say Super Nanny then. Could you imagine that?
I'm not that ill. I'm not that ill, guys. We're not totally dead yet.
It's also worth noting that it was kind of it was pretty much because it was 2009 this film came out, and the Supernatural was in its 4th season at the time, and so it was going quite well. Supernatural, it was, ratings were good, the storylines were pretty solid. He was sort of like at the height of that show. And so to do this on the side as well, it was quite a good name recognition to bring him in.
Yeah, he also did the remake of House of Wax, which Supernatural referenced.
Yes,
that was good.
Yes.
I cannot say it's a superior remake though, guys. Can't do that. We've had some interesting suggestions though. Hi Years, I see Years is in the chat. That's great. It's brilliant. All the regulars are here. I'm seeing John Gorris. I'm seeing Nima, Murgoot, Slim, Bilbo, Balboa. How you doing? Fez, of course. Maverick. Have I missed people? Good to see you all, guys. So fantastic suggestions here. King Kong 77. Oh, I can't disagree. That's a Kurt Russell, isn't it? I think that's a Kurt Russell.
I'll keep coughing as well.
Don't worry. We'll get it. We're going to get through it, guys. We can make it. 13 Ghosts. Oh
my god! I watched that the other week actually.
You're hitting me with the controversial takes here, Murgoot. So, the haunting with Catherine Zeta-Jones and is it Owen Wilson, isn't it? I can't say I had a good time with that one. I mean, it got quite mercilessly parodied in Scary Movie 2, of course. 13 Ghosts. I went in for that, and I swear only Matthew Lillard got me through that. I really, actually, that's unfair. I'll bring you guys in a second if you've seen it, but I was expecting a very different type of film, and I basically hated it, except for the ghost design. I thought was really gorgeous.
Sorry, which one was that? My cat needed to be let out.
Oh, it's okay. 13 Ghosts.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
the ghost designs in that film were pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know if I've mentioned about this, but 13 Ghosts was originally the original one was a William Castle production, and
Right.
he's a fascinating guy. We're going to do a topic on him because he's such an amazing salesman. So his gimmick, and he always had gimmicks for his films. His gimmick for 13 Ghosts was he did a special type of print where if you were wearing a type of glasses, you could see the ghosts or not see the ghosts. And it's just, you can watch the film with them or without them, just by putting the glasses on.
Huh.
Genius.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he also had a gimmick where he put jet engines under the seats in the cinema, which was I mean,
What?
that it was for a film called The Tingler.
Huh.
Don't Google that. But that could have turned out very differently. We'll talk about William Castle another time.
Spatch, we talked about The Ring. In the chat mentions The Ring, and we actually discussed that backstage before going live.
Yeah.
Sort of on that line, what about Wreck and Quarantine? Because Quarantine was a remake or an American version of Wreck.
Oh, I've been corrected. No, it was Jeff Bridges apparently in
Right.
King Kong. Whoops, sorry, 21st Dissident. Sorry about that. Oh, hey, Tash. Let's see.
Because I remember
sorry,
watching. Because I remember watching Quarantine first, I believe, and is it Jennifer Carpenter? Is it Jennifer
Yeah,
Carpenter? Yeah,
It is Jennifer Carpenter. Yes.
Deborah Morgan.
And she was in The Exorcism of Emily Rose as well.
Yeah,
and I
of
completely didn't recognize her at all.
Yeah, it's really strange. But yeah, I remember seeing that one first. And then I remember we started watching Rec, and we didn't. So it sort of cottoned on later on that. Hold on a minute, this is exactly the same as Quarantine. The same stuff's happening, and I sort of looked up and was like, oh my god, Quarantine's an American version of this. And I have to say, you know, despite the fact that my Spanish isn't exactly the best, I'm with Fez. Rec was brilliant.
Yeah, I've got to go with that as well. I'm sorry, Rec had this just really chaotic energy to it. Oh,
Yeah.
I loved it. And is it Javier Botep? I think it's the same guy at the end in both of them. The guy with Marfan syndrome
Right.
is how why he looks that way, but he's up there with Doug Jones now as a sort of recurring creature actor. We were just talking about Ring here, and I can understand. We got one other really good reference here from John, but just on the Ring front, I tend to come down slightly on the side of the American remake, and I'm sure I've said it before, but it's two factors. Is that one is a pacing one, is I think that the addition of the sort of scary scene on the ferry in the American one is just really helpful pacing, because I think the 1998 Japanese, it's just a bit too slow paced for me.
Right.
It's like I mean I love it, but if you give me the option of the film with just that slight pace increase and that little pickup from the action scene, just when there's kind of like a long lull between scares, you know, I'm going to go for that one. And also, I really like the effects on the bodies. How about yourself?
Yeah, I prefer the American version. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean,
Just seems a
both
lot more. Yeah.
both really great. It's a very, very slim margin. If you want to call me unsophisticated, it's like I'll take it, but I love the gory effects and what happened to the victims. It's very memorable to me.
I've got one.
Oh,
What about It?
oh man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Chat. What do you reckon? Original It or the remakes? Because if there's, for me, the first part, there is no question. But then the second part is such an absolute slap in the face. Just
When you say there's no question, where are you leaning?
oh, I massively rate the 2017 over. So It Part 1.
Really?
Oh, totally. But then I just feel that Part 2 screws the pooch so badly.
Hang on, why am I being kicked? No, I'm
Oh,
no,
is that
I'm.
the meme now?
Oh God, here we go.
Pick TCG. Oh no.
No. Hang on. For anybody thinking that I prefer the 2017 one, I'm just going to put it out there. I don't agree. I'm fully on board with the Tim Curry version. I just wanted to get a feel.
No.
Can I have my kicks rescinded?
Tim Curry is undefeated glory. I mean, heck, he makes Scary Movie 2 watchable. But the whole film is not Tim Curry. You know, you've got to balance it out. Like the rest of the 2017 one is so well balanced, and like the young cast are absolutely amazing. It's just
it just felt like a very different film to me. I remember sitting there again watching it with the missus, and you know, the opening scene was, you know, pretty good in turn. You know, it was near a shot for shot remake, but as it went on, it just, you know, for me, I'm a sucker for practical effects, aren't I? And a lot of that film relied on the CGI for the scares, and it was for me, it was just a bit too absurd. Whereas with the original, it felt more natural. It felt more comical. The scares felt more comical, but because it's a clown, and that for me felt more authentic. You know, it felt more frightening. Add to that, I first watched that film under duress, I guess, when I was like 5 or 6. So, you know, I've always had this sort of like niggling voice in the back of my mind saying this film is very scary, don't watch it. Whereas when I sort of sat down and watched this one, the 2017, I was a bit like, don't get me wrong. If I hadn't seen the Tim Curry version, I probably would have liked it more than I had. But as it sort of progressed, it did get a bit silly, and I wasn't really feeling it at the end. Towards the end,
yeah, there's just, gosh darn it, it always falls apart in the adult section. Every time, maybe there's going to be another one in like 20 years, and maybe they'll fix the ending. But let's maybe just do this one last one before we go over to the film discussion. And I just want to say quickly also, hi, Mr. Gently Benevolent. Good to see you. Good morning, sir. And
bonjour, Monsieur Benevolent.
Yeah, and yes, I know you wanted me to talk Life Force. Unfortunately, I don't know if you caught the earlier bit of the stream. I am super coofed up, and I basically did nothing all weekend. I was meant to be in London seeing fine people, going to a friend's wedding, and instead I stayed and slept through some apparently very good Netflix stuff.
T-Bone mentions in the chat The Omen 2006 was an utterly pointless horror remake. Funnily enough, we were talking about this backstage as well.
Yeah,
about how it sort of dropped the ball big time. Because we've covered the original Omen on the channel. That was a great chat.
And it was pretty good.
With Owain, and that was a brilliant film.
Owain.
Owain.
He spelt it phonetically in his name. How did you get it wrong?
Shut up.
To spite the West English.
Well, like strain.
True.
Like rain.
No, like wine.
Yeah.
Like mine.
Oh no, because I look at his Twitter account because he's got it down as Owain, Wain, I think, or.
No, he's got it in the brackets. Owain.
See, I just ignore that.
Yeah. T-Bone, you'll notice. So, as you say, 2006. I'm sure you're aware, but even though the trailer was really quite good, that it was a very pointless remake, and they literally only did it so they could release it on the date June 6, 2006. So it was 06. That was the only reason they did it, and just gosh darn it, reissue the old film. You'd have raked in the money for a lot less. And the last one, I know John Goris mentioned it, and Fez prefers a remake, I see. Yeah, I can't go with it. I can't. I do prefer the original, I'm afraid, to the remake. Although the remake does, I believe, have our good friend Chloe Grace Moretz in.
The girl who gets it done.
Gets it done. Oh well, we're gonna get it done, guys. Because I can already feel the trembling. That's not just from my weakened sternum.
Oh my god! All right, sorry. Just before we go into it, you mentioned Chloe.
Grace.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Get it. Chloe Grace Moretz, whatever her name is. Did you know she was also in the remake of the Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds? I found that out.
No, I'd forgotten that.
I found that out. Well, I remember. Well, I rediscovered it while I was researching the Amityville case.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
Gosh darn.
Just reminded me of that. Speaking of which, Amityville Horror. What about that for a remake?
I found it interesting. I mean, it's odd seeing Ryan Reynolds play it fairly straight. You know, that was a bit odd.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, just playing a bad guy in general was a bit of an odd move for him.
Yeah, but it was an interesting one for him. I'll be honest, I don't remember the original well enough. Although from all accounts, as far as I remember, it's actually the sequel to the original is actually a much better film.
Okay.
So that's maybe worth a watch at some point. We should probably leave it off there, folks.
Friday night. No, I'm joking.
Oh no! All right. I'll once again do the standard YouTube thing and invite you to smash that like button, all that good stuff. But we have a super nanny to appease, and as I mentioned, I am dying, guys. I'm dying so much here. So
Jeez.
Bear with me.
You sound like the Brundle fly.
Haryan getting those segues in.
Mm.
By the way, all credit to you for getting the amazing avatar there, Haryan. If people aren't appreciating it, as ever, you know the film from the memes.
Yeah,
I love it.
Exactly.
Let's go and discuss The Fly. All right. Okay, so the bit that we forget to say almost every single week, folks, we are now going to spoil the entire movie, every single detail of it. So, because how else can we do a deep analysis? This is not a channel where we give you a quick 6-minute blurb and 20 seconds.
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah, and with just a little sprinkling of cleave to keep you watching. While the second ad roll plays. No, we go nice and in depth because I cannot produce content for every single horror movie coming out. I cannot produce it fast. What I can do is do a nice, good analysis of horror films. I have been told to shill. I shill so much. Yes, I did such a good shill earlier. It was brilliant, but just for you because you are such a star and you have already joined the subscribe star that I've got. I will reiterate that if you want to support this channel, super chats are open. I have got memberships done, but I'm switching up what's actually in them. And if you want to avoid Susan Bucks, you can go straight to the subscribe star that is in the description. And that will be much appreciated. That helps me cover the cost of the software that I use to make my videos. And it also helps go towards funding a far more ambitious project that I'm going to tell you about at some point soon. All right, there we go. And we'll get into some fun production notes. See, Bilbo's got my back here. I was all professional and I shilled nice and early. I've got to say, it's very unnatural for an English person to be talking that confidently about their stuff, but I'll do it for you guys.
Yeah. Shot our what on what was supposed to be a dry run.
Oh, can someone do a Turley? I can't do Steve.
Excuse
Turley.
me? Not on stream.
All right, I'm going to require someone to do a Steve Turley style shit.
I've literally never listened to Steve Turley in my life, so I don't know what he sounds like.
Oh, you've missed 20 minutes of delicious advertising. Oh, man. I remember that there was a one stream they were analysing one of his videos, and he was going to talk about the upcoming conservative wave in the youth, and he just delayed it about 8 times. Just switching on to shilling, and yes.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
But before we get into that, I just want you to know about this great opportunity. And it's just, he did it about 8 times. I was pulling my hair out. It was, Anyway, no.
So he's like Ben Shapiro, but he shills his own product.
Oh, he is the king of the shill.
Right.
Literally, like you would look upon him in awe. No one shills like Turley.
I will have to check him out.
So, I say it's going to be a brief one today, guys, because as I say, unfortunately, I'm very ill. I'm low on energy. But I'll just talk a little bit about this. As we said, this is a remake of a 1958 film starring Vincent Price. It is very, very different. So just the whole approach, I think they got the idea of, looking at this classic sci-fi, but then updating it. And I'm going to say that I think probably The Thing has a big role to play in this. That was remaking a classic 50s sci-fi. This is remaking a classic 50s sci-fi, but with a director who's going to take a very different modern approach. So one of the things in the original Fly is that the transformation is something that I think doesn't work as well for audiences now, because literally it's just a head swap, just like Haryan's avatar there.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Vincent Price is not the he's investigating his brother, who's a scientist, and the scientist basically has had his head swapped with the fly, and as he realized the fly has got his head, it actually works quite well, and it's played to a really quite nice, disturbing, really unsettling tone, because they know, even though that's a bit ridiculous, solving what has happened becomes really crucial to the wife and the mother of the child. So there's actually a really strong set of stakes there. And it's quite interesting because the fly isn't a threat to her. It's actually framed a lot more around a kind of murder mystery. So it's a very different take. Whereas this I think we could say goes a bit more realistic. The idea of that contagion, that idea of disease that Cronenberg is incredibly interested in, from The Brood, from Shivers. He loves infection.
Right.
Yeah. And so he had built up a fair bit of kudos at this point. He'd had the success of Videodrome, which of course we also covered. And he got about $9 million to make this movie. And it's got some interesting production. He got to work with some bigger names. So Geena Davis is in this. She is absolutely gorgeous. She is cute as a button in this film. I'm trusting you guys appreciated Geena Davis.
Definitely.
Journalist, boo.
Hollywood actress, boo.
Indeed. Oh, I'll tell you though, if you see her in I think it's The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Right.
Oh, she is so good. That film is an absolute treat. I never see anyone talk about it. Anyway, sorry, I should have said, guys, I mentioned it on Twitter. But the entirety of the 1958 The Fly is on BitChute. It's brilliant.
It?
Yeah, give it a watch, guys. It's really short.
Right, brilliant. Send me a link at the end of this or whatnot, and I'll check it out afterwards.
Yeah, I'll try and remember. But yeah, you can find it on there. So we've got a nice budget. We've got slightly upgraded stars, and we've got a director who's getting a bit of kudos. So it's all looking good. And it also had some really interesting backing. One of the producers of this film, I know I told Haryan this. I think I told you this as well. The Fly was produced by Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks, I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mel Brooks. This absolutely blew my mind. What the heck? Mel Brooks, the guy behind Blazing Saddles, put this movie together. Well,
Why?
yeah,
I
it's
was
it's his company Brooks Films. He keeps his name off because basically it confuses people. Apparently, if people see that it's a Mel Brooks film, they expect a comedy.
that's what he said. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I remember you said when you told me that I was like, wait, are we actually watching the same film? So it completely proved his point right, because I was not expecting Mel Brooks to have his he didn't have his name on it, but to have his fingerprint on this movie. I was genuinely taken back. I was like, wait, Mel Brooks, and then I actually thought, I think I'm watching the wrong film.
No, it's, well, what can I say? Man of many talents. It's, well, I imagine it's like any audience member who popped into Wes Craven's Music from the Heart and then was quite surprised to find a jolly musical. Or you might remember Danny Boyle made a film called Millions, which was a kids' film, and it was just billed as the only Danny Boyle film you can take your kids to. Sly sense of humor. So, but what we're seeing here is some interesting sort of higher flying backing, and he did have some trouble with the studio. Like, can you imagine hiring David Cronenberg and then being annoyed that he made a disturbing, gory nightmare?
It's hilarious. I mean, that in itself is quite funny when you think about it.
Yeah. Just imagine. Oh gosh. Anyway, so he did have to cut some scenes from this, but he got some of his more memorable atrocities into it, which we'll no doubt talk about. But it does leave one interesting minor plot hole that we'll get onto at some point. Yes, the monkey disappearing, the baboon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and the baboon features in the deleted scene known as the monkey cat scene.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I heard about that scene.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but it has done very well. It did turn off a heck of a lot of critics, but it's obviously gone on to be quite the astonishingly well remembered film, quite the treasured film, cult classic. Well, it's probably a bit too well known to be a cult classic. I'd probably just say it's a really well loved horror.
I'd go with that.
Yeah. It did get a sequel and in 1989, but one thing I really liked was that there was an attempt for an alternate sequel in the 1990s.
Okay.
Which was produced by serial chancer, and yet sort of, you can't hate the guy, Rennie Harlin. And Rennie Harlin went to the studio in the 90s, and he tried to pitch them a film called, wait for it, guys, a sequel called Flies. Where did he get that idea from?
I can't imagine.
The Thing, maybe?
He sounds very creative.
Cheeky bugger. Well, it worked for James Cameron. Why not?
You talk about the sequels, right? I haven't seen The Fly 2, but after I watched this one, I was like, I wonder what the second one's about, because surely it's got to be connected to the first one in quite a big way. And it's all to do with the again, I think we're in spoiler territory now, but there's an offspring, and he's like grown up by the time he's age 5 because he's got some of the fly DNA, and so he's like a fully grown adult by the time he's 5 years old. And from what I gathered from the synopsis, is he's 5 years old and he's going around trying to. I can't remember exactly what it was he was doing. I think it started to manifest in him, so I don't know if he was looking for a cure or whatnot. But he was working with his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood. What are you doing there? Slow down there, Hollywood.
Oh, he was a fully grown adult at 5, and it's like, yeah, but he's still 5 though. Like, what are you doing?
He's a mature 5.
Produced by Roman Polanski.
Very interesting. Get in the wood chipper. Hollywood gonna Hollywood. What can I say? Yeah. I also remember way back in the day there was they were trying to do a remake that never happened, and it was pitched on the idea of, hey guys, there's been 3 Fly films and the Fly has never flown. What's up with that?
God. That would have been brilliant.
Yeah, well, bold didn't happen, but and apparently David Cronenberg was talking about it in the mid 2010s. But I'm gonna be honest, if anything was going to happen with that, it probably would have happened by now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen on the wiki here, Jeff Goldblum was talking in 2018 about it. He said he'd be interested in doing a sequel if Cronenberg was in. But let's see.
But how would he get involved?
As he says, I don't think my character would be involved because, of course, I got tragically mutated with the Fly and then the machine. Oh boy. This direct quote. But maybe I show up as a grandchild of the original Seth Brundle. Well, Seth Brundle had a brother. Had a brother that emerges in some ways. Who knows? Who cares? I don't know. But David Cronenberg was a thrill to work with. Boy, if he was involved, I'd like to work with him again. I tell you that.
I mean, they could potentially do it. Let's say if the telepod retained his
I was about to say
his
that.
DNA. Yeah, if it retained that information and could just generate a new bundle, that could work.
Or Hollywood could make something new for once. That's
Oh, please. Whoa. Don't get all revolutionary up in here, man. Come on.
Am I
like
asking
Shadow in the Cloud?
I know, right? Army of the Dead.
Oh no! All right,
GTs.
all right.
Oh god!
Oh god! Why don't they
The
make
Fly
something
2.
good? Yeah.
Okay,
They
so,
did
so,
in the 80s.
Oh my god! Yeah, they did. They did. I want to watch that. I do want to watch that. I remember Good Bad Flicks did a sort of deep dive on it that made me think, okay, that might be interesting.
Okay.
And it was directed by the chap who did the special effects, Chris Farless here. So not a chap I know particularly well, but I think he largely did a really good job in this.
Yeah, he was credited at first, right at the start, wasn't he? At the end of the film.
He was indeed.
And that was very much intentional, because I think Cronenberg said about his contribution, he was like, this is Chris Wallace's film. This is his film, which I thought was quite nice, because the special effects and makeup in this, it's just brilliant.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
Yes. It carries the entire film, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go through it, and we'll do a basic act structure, and then we'll throw in some analysis as we get to it. I'm going to warn you, I've taken excessive numbers of shots of the baboon because it's my favourite part of the movie. I absolutely love that guy. We're going to talk about the baboon a lot.
Genuinely thought you were going to say taking excessive shots of something else.
I probably
like cough medicine.
I'll try and mute, but...
No, but just like, I'm getting drowsy.
Oh, no.
I got a little sleep in here.
Oh, no.
Start snoring live on stream.
Yeah, just start slurring and dropping red pills. That's...
like... Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know nothing. Anyway. So, let's move very swiftly on. So one thing that struck me about this in the first act is, crikey, how fast does it move?
Oh, straight into it. Love it.
Straight into it.
No mucking about.
Do you want to give us the first act?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty. It wants to get straight into the plot. We're at this science convention with people who heckin' love science and a science journo who doesn't look like a soy boy or soy girl, which I'm quite surprised at, but this was the 80s. And she's around looking for the story, and Jeff Goldblum's all like, oh, but mine's going to change the world. They're lying. And obviously he's just trying to show off to this woman. He's not really paying attention that she's a journo. So he's like, oh, just come back to my place. It'll be great. Then it's established he has motion sickness and nothing is ever done with that, but cool. And he goes straight in, starts playing the piano, which I was like, oh, this guy's really quirky. I like that. And she's like, is this all you wanted to show me? So she's straight
Zip.
into business. Like, here are the telepods. What you're doing with them? And so he's just like, oh, give me something. So she takes off a stocking. He's like, right, cool. Activates the telepod. It obviously teleports the stocking. And she's like, isn't this just a magic trick though?
I found it quite interesting that she goes for the
Stocking and not the shoe. I was going to say.
Yeah, I thought that was
just.
I don't mind it. It makes it memorable, but I did.
Well, that was just 80s man service, wasn't it? Like, oh, look at her. Oh, she's going to go for. Oh no, she's removing the stocking. Woi, oi, woo.
She's kind of flirting with him at that point, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean she's sort of gone back to the guy's place. Yeah,
they are. He's so charming. Like, it's things like him sort of impromptu playing the piano. It's like you really know, like he just wants to impress her, and so when he does the stupid thing of, yeah, I'm going to show you the big invention. Oh, by the way, journalist, please don't write about this.
Yeah, that's a bit odd, isn't it?
Like that is potentially that's quite a big problem in the plot. Potentially.
Well, I just take. Well, the guy's clearly just naive. He's just very naive.
Yeah.
It was quite funny the way, because she makes no secret that she's a journo, because she's out there looking for a story, and he's quite like, get her back. And obviously, when she agrees to go back to his, I bet he's thinking like, wait, I'm in here. And then it's like, tape recorder out, and he's like, whoa, wait, what are you doing? It's like, why are you surprised? Why are you so surprised? She told you why she was out there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no, I thought it was personal. No, mate.
Yeah, it's I think that could bomb. That could be a cinema sin. That could get so much ridicule. But Jeff Goldblum, I think, carries it.
Oh yeah,
he's got that manic energy that you can kind of believe that he literally wasn't thinking about it. That he figured she could compartmentalize it, and he could just show her and impress her, and then
and bonk her.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
There you go. I'll say it.
Cheers.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an interesting choice that there's just there's no delay, there's no build up. Really, it's pretty much straight to it, and I did find it almost this movie is 91 minutes of story. It's very brief. You could have taken the time, and something I will probably say throughout the whole film is I do feel like the editing means that scenes do sort of start quite abruptly, and I could do with a bit more of a lead in. I don't know if you guys got that feel.
I just felt like this was just a document of the process that he was going through, and you were just catching up at each important step. So the editing didn't really. I was fine with that. To be fair, I was quite fine. I was quite fine with the editing style.
I could just be being way too picky.
No, I mean I can understand it. But yeah, I just felt like it sort of tied in with, because obviously he goes later on in the film. He goes back to her and he's like, document it, document the process. Get a bigger story out of it. And I just felt like the way that the film was edited was almost like that was the process that we would have seen had it been converted into a documentary piece.
Okay, that's an interesting one. I follow the structure like that. I just thought it's just literally the where scenes cut off and where they enter. I just felt it lacked a lot of establishing, but I'm possibly being picky here. Oh, we should probably point out this is Jeff Goldblum's first major role. He had been in a fair amount beforehand. The one I'd have to point out for you all is, of course, one of my favourites, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978.
Okay.
He is in that, but oh,
hello, John.
How about this? Oof. My. That is some
How long did that last?
I think that's just Goldblum's method acting. Frankly, he's committed.
So when she turned around to him and said, "Oh my God, you still have energy,"
Hang on, this
and
makes
it's like,
sense
"Yeah,
to me.
keep going."
This makes sense to me, Mergu. I can see the studio really cutting it down. Yeah, I can see it. I just
They're
got
only
that
married
feeling.
for 4 years.
Ah,
Wait,
Yeah.
is that right? Maverick says that he was in the first Death Wish movie that killed Paul Kersey's wife. No, Jeff Goldblum. I watched
Let's
that
have
not
a
long
look.
ago.
What, the first Death Wish?
Yeah, I watched that not long ago.
Oh my! I'm just having a look. He is. He's freak number 1,
No way.
and he decided to go with that.
Oh my days. Because who else was in it?
Oh gosh,
I'm
he's
sure there
also
was-
in The Sentinel. That was a Michael
Freak
Winner
number
movie.
one. Oh my God,
Well
man,
done.
that is incredible. Thanks for that.
That's some quality trivia. Well done. Oh, Maverick, thank you for giving the line. I cannot say that on this stream. I am. This is a family-friendly channel. Yeah. So, yes, Geena, Veronica obviously takes it back to her boss, and her boss is rather interesting, wouldn't you say?
I'd say he's interested in her.
Ooh, woo. This is
Yeah.
a character that you would not get today, would you?
No.
Talk about, where is it, that delightful misogyny? There we go. This guy in the whole film.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as, like, you know, your classic stereotype of them slapping asses all the time. But it just come out with a line later in the film just saying, "Oh, can we have casual sex?" He just says that to Geena Davis's character. Can't remember her name.
Yeah, he's
Ronnie.
He's quite relentless.
that?
It's amazing, and there's just nothing is done with it. He doesn't pay any price for it. He's just a complete a-hole.
He doesn't
well-
need to. She just keeps saying no, and that's fine.
I mean, there was obviously a relationship there beforehand, so I feel like the idea between the dialogue between those two is that might have been how they spoke to each other when they were in a relationship, like quite flirty and whatnot. And he quite clearly just was not over it. And so, like, even if he could have, like, no strings attached sex with, you know, his ex-girlfriend, that for him would have been enough for that emotional connection. But I didn't think of him as like a sleazeball, but I did think of him as like a very desperate guy who needs to get over it, basically.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
I've just got to pause for a moment because yes, Page Unknown, absolutely. The 78 is my favorite of all of them, but yeah, we also did we covered the Abel Ferrara version, the 1993, in one of our early streams. If you're interested, I try and get people to know about that movie because I think not many people watch it, but it's pretty decent. But I mean, I watch all of them except the Nicole Kidman one because we missed the mark. But yeah, he does. I think you couldn't have this guy in again because it would just set far too many people into an absolute rage. They'd be like, he has to pay a price. He needs redemption of some kind. And this film just doesn't do this. Incidentally, I noticed that this guy has the classic Cronenberg trope of the odd name, the Staphysporans. Like, everyone else is quite normally named, but Cronenberg absolutely loves putting these, you know, obviously, what would you say, artificial names in?
Yeah, less a name, more this is referencing something, and I'll shoehorn it in if I need to. Damn it. So, I mean, I don't know what's it, Staphysporans?
Staphysporans, yeah.
What's he going after there? Because I couldn't tell.
I couldn't get it either. It's like it's not as obvious as Brian Oblivion or Barry Convex, but This was my take on this guy.
The real Chad.
I mean, he is a Chad,
Oh,
yes, me.
perfect. Yeah, it's actually perfect.
Walks into her flat, showers, refuses to elaborate.
You should have edited the headphones on him as well.
The headphones.
Some old 80s style headphones, you know.
I'll do it next time.
yeah.
I'll do it next time, guys.
No, he's good there.
He wins you over. He's such an a-hole, but he wins you over.
Yeah, I kind of first and second act I don't like him, but then you get to the last one, it's like, he does just care about her. He's just a bit of a sleaze, but
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like,
that.
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's not that he's a sleaze per se. It's just that. Oh god, that's brilliant. I'm looking at that meme again. But it's just that he cares about her, and he just has a very odd way of showing it. It is weird, but the true motive or his true feelings become more apparent as the film goes on. I'm going to tag that best PH meme.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I can try and shoot the headphones on, but another bit of amazing Cronenberg satire as well. Like, he loves slipping this in, but you just notice that they work at Monolith Publishing. Like, this is Cronenberg's sort of indie outsider mindset coming in, that he's just going to satirize it as just like one big monolith one and just make it so blatant. You might as well call it a Domination Corp, Oligopoly Industries. It's very unsubtle, and he doesn't mind throwing that in there.
Yeah, I can see that. The journalism doesn't really come into it too much after by the end of Act 1 anyway, because obviously. Stance? I nearly called him Stathis.
Stathis.
Yeah,
don't call him Stannis Baratheon.
That's what
try
I was
to avoid
for.
it.
But yeah, he's just saying it because Veronica's obviously. Well, she at first secretly recorded the conversation with him, and then she kind of just let him know. Oh, by the way, I've recorded this. Which why would you secretly record that then? Oh no, it's because she said like, oh, I'm gonna. Write a story about this, basically. That's when he said no. But yeah, obviously Stathis doesn't buy it. He's just like, this is just a basic nightclub magic trick to try and get you into him. Like, that's it. Like, I know because I'm a sleazeball. But then we see, obviously, Jeff Goldblum, Seth here, because he's come up to see Veronica, to which he says, all right, have the private conversation. Veronica says, well, he's not going to run the story because he thinks you're lying, so I'll try somewhere else. And he says, no, I'll take you out to get a cheeseburger and talk business with you. Then we get to the, like, thank God this is kind of a no-name diner, because this wasn't good advertising, where they're there and Seth saying to Veronica, hey, I want you to follow me around because I don't have a life, and just record my life for a book if you really want to get into publishing. Because I'm having an issue with the telepod at the moment that I can only transfer I can only transfer inanimate material. So he meant inorganics. It affects dead meat. But anyway, but then when she's like, what does it do? He says, oh, don't worry. And she says, it can't be worse than this.
No,
I'm like, thank God. I wouldn't go to that diner.
I don't know, man. That burger does look quite nice, despite Geena Davis's roaring review. It's just rich sport elite opinion of a dirty burger, mate. Sometimes you just got to have a dirty burger,
Yeah. But yeah, she just goes home after that, and her ex is there. She's just there showering.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, he's being a massive tit. Like, why?
It's kind of Chad, though. It's kind of Chad.
It's a bit creepy at the same time. Because she's like, "Can I have my key back? 'Cause I don't want you coming in my house randomly anymore." And he's like, "Nah." It's like, stop being weird, man. She wants you to go.
Yeah,
So-
as you say, the journalism is effectively just. It's kind of nice. It doesn't intrude too much. It does have a couple of points where it interacts, so it connects them. It gives her a motivation to keep with him. She's got a reason to stick around. And then, Stathis gets to do a sort of little increase attention by threatening to publish. Like, even if it never really drives the story that much, it's quite plausible, quite plausibly integrated.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell his motivation, because his whole motivation is just, I want Veronica back in my life. So it makes sense why he does what he does for most of the film, even after it's clear. Well, it's been made clear to him at this point that it's not happening again. But the man's a Chad. It's like, enters apartment, shower, refuses to elaborate, leaves with key.
I know, he doesn't even give her the key back.
Yeah.
I'd love to show this to a bunch of like modern audiences.
Yeah.
Post it on Tumblr.
Yeah, they'd freak out. I'd love it.
It's so weird that they use a baboon to me, just because guinea pigs would be cheaper.
I know.
I don't know where he's getting these expensive baboons from. There are like 2 of them.
He's got the money, but
yeah,
I think this is all about it's just more memorable. I think we wouldn't feel as much compassion for a guinea pig, whereas we should probably say I kind of think so. Ronnie comes in to document him, and she films this. This is where I would say Act 1 ends. Would you agree?
Yeah, when they start. This is definitely the middle part of documenting his life and the complications that come with it.
Yeah.
Because she's here with a full camcorder. She's recording all this.
Yeah.
Properly.
He's got that sense of hubris. Like, he does want to show off to her, but he's also very dedicated. And so we see once again just sort of impromptu in hubris. But I don't remember her reacting as much to this. I think because of the editing, just keeping it so short. But I expected kind of her to be a lot more put off by this, you know?
Yeah, like almost throwing up.
Wait, I mean, I suppose we should clarify what we mean by this, as in, what is she meant to be put off by?
So yes. So obviously, as he said, there's an issue with teleporting organic material, and he didn't tell her at the restaurant. And you find out why. He tries to teleport this baboon, and then when it teleports, they look at the other telepod, and it's literally inside out, having a spaz attack. I assume from the pain of having no skin.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
Yeah.
You'll be unsurprised, folks, from the description Haryan gave. I am not able, and the fact this is David Cronenberg, I am not going to be able to show you what happens to the baboon. But yes.
Pretty good prosthetics, though.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
An inside-out, twitching, dying nightmare is... I think it's that moment, because also look at the color palette in this scene. Look at how muted everything is. Where are any of the reds? Right? And then you see inside a bright white pod, and it's just pure, like, deep visceral reds, and it's such a shock to your eyes after seeing this.
If you want an image of the baboon of representation, think Nikocado Avocado's mukbang leftovers.
Oh no. It is a nightmare image. I mean, I just have to take a moment, because this is like it's one of the big set pieces, big shock moments. So how did you feel seeing this, TCG? I mean, I didn't even ask. Had you seen this before?
Yes, yeah, years ago.
Okay,
Remembered
years
very
ago,
little of
right.
it, but that was something that I remembered very well. Yeah, I like Haryan wondered why they needed a baboon when they could have used something smaller. Because if organic material was the problem, well, anything organic would be fine. I mean, like he says it's inanimate objects, but it's quite clearly something to do with organics.
Yeah, I mean, a
Possibly
guinea
an
pig would have made more sense to me.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah,
You know, a guinea pig or a gerb, or I mean, that place looks like it probably houses a few rats. I mean,
true.
and he'd save the company that's funding it even more money. But that baboon scene really was quite disturbing.
Disgusting.
It
Yeah.
was disgusting, and it also made you think, like, crap, what if that was a human trial that went wrong? You know,
Yeah.
what would a human look like coming out of that? I suppose visually they'd use a baboon because that's what, you know, the primate is the closest thing to a human. You probably there's
I get
probably
what
some
you
sort of
mean,
visual aspect to that. But yeah, it was. I mean, when I first saw it as a kid, I was like freaked out big time by it. This time, it was more just disgusted and like horrified at what I was looking at. This thing just like like you could like imagine the unimaginable pain that thing must have been in. Just like end it, please end it.
Yeah, because I watched this scene while I was eating my lunch,
Oh God, poor you.
and then I wish I didn't.
How'd that go, Harriet?
I managed to just about keep it down.
Yeah.
Luckily.
I mean, it's the directing of it. Is it just, as I've said, your eyes have been effectively accustomed to these muted colours for quite a while, and then it does smash cut to bright white and gore, and it makes it that much more shocking to you, in addition to how extremely sort of like intensely gory the animatronic is. Really sticks with you. This is just like classic Cronenberg. He will always take it a little bit further than you expect in a way that you haven't seen before. Like, that's something he is so good at every single time.
Definitely. I suppose one of the things actually now since doing these streams for you guys is because I'm starting to get a bit more aware of like certain producers and directors and stuff. When I saw David Cronenberg's name pop up on the list, I was like, I mean, I already knew what this film was like, but seeing his name there sort of validated it, because I was like, yes, okay, we're in for good animatronics, we're in for good practical effects, we're in for some good old like bits of body horror and things like that. So when I saw the bits that I hadn't remembered, I was like, yeah, that meets the expectation. I mean, yeah, that's a good point, John. I would have said, yeah, this is what I was going with for what Mergu says. I think, I don't know if you agree with this, Haryan, but I felt like, you know, again, it could have been the earlier stages of the testing, then you just didn't see it, but I would have thought he would have started off with smaller animals like rabbits, gerbils, rats, that sort of stuff, and then worked his way.
Yeah.
But would have eventually naturally got to something like a primate, like a baboon or a chimp or something like that.
It's how we test basically everything on it, on organic material.
Yeah.
A cat. We tested cats.
Well, he did in the film, but you just don't see it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get for the kind of audience reasons why a baboon's used. It's just, to me, it's quite jarring that it's like, oh, it doesn't work for any organic materials. I'll get some of the most expensive test subjects I can think of. It's like, oh.
While at the same time saying that the company funding it, was it Bartok, consider him cheap, and I'm thinking, baboons aren't cheap.
Yeah. By the way, Mima, you're absolutely correct about that. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yes.
As it does explain something later. So yeah, this is the end of Act 1. You know, we've established what his goal is, what the experiment is. It's very neat. It doesn't mess around. And then he hits a turning point, which is his challenge. He cannot move organic matter. And we, the little atrocity that we see inside the pod as a result of the attempt is a very definitive end to Act 1. But it does set us up for the sort of inevitable repeat attempts. Do you want to take us on from there, Haryan?
Yes,
like-
because well, this baboon's screwed, obviously, and sorry,
This is a lucky one. For the
that
moment,
one's fine. Yeah.
as long as you don't watch the deleted scene, then this baboon is fine.
Yes. So so after this, Veronica, obviously, Seth's very annoyed that he can't get it right. And Veronica sympathizes, so she spends the night there, both of them in bed, and it's very nice. And Seth gets a little cut on his back from some computer chip that's in the bed for some reason, because he's a very messy guy. Wears the same clothes every day as well.
Steve Jobs pilled.
Yeah, exactly. And she's even like, I brought some steaks if you want me to cook them. And he's like, oh, well, we could go out. But then they don't, because they just stay in and bang, which is, an excellent thing to do instead.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, she starts talking about, she says something in the bed and talks about flesh, and it basically makes him brainstorm, where he's like, okay, we'll have these 2 steaks. I've got this steak, I'll cut it in half, teleport one, leave the other, cooks them, and then gets her to taste them. And she had a really weird description for it. She's like, oh, the one that got teleported, she said, tastes synthetic. And I don't know what that means. Like, what's a synthetic taste? Do you know what I mean?
As a vegan, I can tell you quite a lot about synthetic rubbery steaks.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Just, I think the description could have been more like, oh, the texture's way off. It tastes more like a mushroom than a meat. And it basically gets him to say the machine's translating the organic material rather than deconstructing and reconstructing what it's told. So he's found out the issue. So he can work on that. And yeah, I've this obviously software stuff, and I work with software. Yes, that it can be as simple as that. And you don't see it for ages. So it's like, oh, that's cool. So after that, yeah, she drives off to. But it's really nice. He's like really excited because he's had a bit of a break from what he needs to do, and she's like, "Oh, I'll go out and buy him some new clothes," because he lives like a. All I could think of when I saw his place was, the memes where it's like men live like this and literally think it's okay.
Yes,
that's what was going through my mind. It's like, oh, here we go, woman coming in trying to change it. The man's got a perfect life, living in destitute. She has to come along and improve him. Ooh. But yeah, so they teleport the baboon again. Here, and it's all great. And he's like, get the champagne. It's like, yeah, high point of the film, and then she's like, oh, but I got to go off and cut out the bad bits of my life. I make sure publishing man doesn't ever see me again, because I hate him.
I'm looking at the deleted scene right now, and he's just opened a third telepod, and a bit smoky. Oh my god.
Yep, that's the scene they had to delete.
Oh my god, it's attacked! Oh my Jesus Christ! Oh my god, it's going for him.
Yep.
Oh no!
That's
it's cutting him. Oh mate, no! Oh, that is grim. Oh my god! Oh, it's running away. What the hell? It's freaking out. No.
You see why I can't show any of that TCG?
Oh, it's on YouTube. I mean, oh god.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, but Susan doesn't look.
Oh, he's poked it. Why is he poked? No, stop eating it. No. Oh my god. Oh, no.
So.
Oh mate. Although I would. It's interesting. It's twitching. Okay. Oh my god! Please don't tell me it's still alive. Anyway. Okay. Let's shut that down for a minute. Interesting though. The percentage split was 52-48. Of the DNA.
Oh, it's there again.
I know.
Magic numbers.
That's the magic
They're going to have
numbers.
to redo it.
It did it. Bilbo, yes, it went for him like a face hugger. It was mental.
Yeah, so that will be the... Let's just discuss that. This is the Baboon Cat Scene. It's quite interesting. You don't need it.
You
but
don't,
it
no.
explains where the baboon disappears to, because it has a successful teleport here. But after Brundle here runs into some trouble, he decides that what he needs to do is try combining 2 life forms in separate pods into the third pod that we are introduced to. And so he tests that with the baboon, poor sod, and a cat. Now, I think the cat is actually kind of a recall to the original Fly. They have a cat called Dandelo that the scientist just decides, you know what, I think this is going well. Sod it, I'll put the house cat in the teleporter. And it doesn't turn inside out because it's 1958, but it does just disappear. And you just sort of hear it meowing from the ether. And it's kind of haunting, but then no one actually does anything to him for this. No one's annoyed at him for vanishing the cat. It's a bit weird.
If they had actually introduced that deleted scene, admittedly, I don't think the question would have been so much as, oh, so that's what happened to the baboon. It would have been more, where did the cat come from? Because, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I mean,
telepod, because he only had 2.
well, no, he does mention at the opening scene that there's a prototype. He's like, oh, it does work, but it's a bit clunky. So when that third telepod popped up, I was like, oh, okay, that must be the prototype that he's using as a third one. But I mean, the baboon's in and out of the film anyway, and so you kind of just think he's stuck in a cage somewhere anyway for the duration. I didn't even think about the baboon after he went through the telepod.
Well, it's moving so quickly, isn't it?
Honey,
You
I
still
shot the
don't have
cat.
time to. Yeah. Oof. Good idea there, waifu. I've got to say some are coming to mind already.
Oh God.
Society from Brian Yuzna is one that I'm thinking of, but I'll think on that a bit. Yeah, so having got that, as you say, he's sort of filled with hubris. Oh my gosh, consistent character work. Bloody love it. And he does what you might expect him to do. And he puts himself... Oh, I should say there's something he does first. I cannot get enough of Jeff Goldblum chilling like an absolute giga chad, chatting to his favourite mate, Baboon. I would watch the entire movie of this.
I like how he's wearing new clothes as well. I thought that was a nice touch.
It is really nice how he turns it around and he's just wearing the stuff that she gets him. It's very sweet. But also his baboon mate is just chilling on the seat there. It makes me so happy.
Fetch me a whiskey, human.
Oh, if only they were both chilling with a drink.
I mean, imagine if they both went into the pod together.
That'd be cute. I think you'd have a better film.
Yeah. Definitely be more wholesome.
Yeah. I do like when he puts himself in the machine as well. The monkey's just tearing up the ottoman.
I think it was just doing that randomly, and they were like, okay. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh my God. I was gonna say.
Does that make the monkey PG tipsy?
Wow.
Awful.
There is an old British joke for you guys that only the Britbongs appreciate.
Right,
that.
guys, quit monkeying around now. Let's get on with the review.
Oh God,
Let's talk about the monkey.
Yeah, tell us about the monkey, because you looked up some good trivia on this.
Yes. So, interesting. This little monkey. Let me pull it up. Baboon. Definitely not trying to say something there. So yeah, those involved with making this film, and that includes Cronenberg, basically recalled that the baboon, whose real name was Typhoon, awesome name by the way, was very
Typhoon the baboon.
Typhoon the baboon.
I love that.
It was very much a wild animal and not like an acting baboon. And one of the visual effects supervisors said that in one of the documentaries that Typhoon was apparently startled by the flashing lights in the telepod and essentially broke the door off to get out and like run off. And so the Wrangler and Jeff Goldblum basically were the ones who had to keep the primate in check. Jeff Goldblum's like 6'4", so he's obviously quite a tall guy, and he was quite obviously, you know, quite youthful at the time, quite strong. And there was a quote from Cronenberg, I believe it was, who said, "They're very volatile, and there's no such thing as a tame baboon." Jeff, Vincent Goldblum, because he was much bigger and stronger than the baboon, he was able to dominate him. Interesting way of wording it. And the baboon's wrangler said it was a good thing that the baboon formed that relationship. Otherwise, there could have been big trouble on set with some of the female members of the crew.
Oh,
so basically, yeah. So Tash talked about me getting frisky when she first popped up in the chat. Typhoon could have been very frisky himself if it wasn't for Jeff and his 6'4" manliness.
Nice.
Just amazing scenes. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Even more reasons to have guinea pigs instead of baboons.
I know.
Oh dear. Yeah,
so-
I was like, just a really weird side note is just because that is the same kind of monkey that features in The Omen. There's, you know, the scene where they swarm the car. It's pretty darn scary.
Yes.
Like, you remember how those look when they're angry.
Mm-hmm.
And now just seeing this one being a big soft boy, ooh woo.
It's like when he gave Jeff a big old cuddle. I was just like, "Aw."
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't put that deleted scene in now, because I like to think that Typhoon made it through.
Typhoon's just he's too good. He's too good to have that fate. No, he's gone on to prosper. That's now canon. But again, further celebration. The experiment worked, and our boy Seth Brundle has gone through, and everything is looking pretty good, right?
Or is it?
Well, it's all the classic sort of upswing of the narrative. What's one of the first thing he does, having successfully done the experiment? Gets his girlfriend round.
Yeah. Come around, baby.
He finds himself full of a lot of amorous energy.
Mm-hmm.
Decides to dominate her as well, and
But I mean, are flies actually that frisky? I'm not being funny, but they don't.
They are basically designed to. They live for about 3 days, so they do 3 things: eat, bang, and die.
That sounds like quite a life.
It's At least I don't think. I don't think they live that long anyway. But
I know there's some flies that literally live for like 24 hours.
Yeah. So I think dragonflies do that.
Yeah.
Cronenberg here managing to slip some wonderful body horror into the scene.
Sorry, I just saw this chat from me. Like, when I was in Africa, I watched a.
Yeah, they don't mess around. They know what the deal is. They know if you've got food, and they aren't. It's like the deer in Nara in Japan. They're not playing. They see that ice cream you've got, and they want it. You know.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah, I never saw the deer punch anyone in the face, but I can believe a monkey would do it. Well, a baboon here. Well done. This is Cronenberg working in some great body horror here. It's just nicely disturbing. Very good. And you just go on this trajectory of suddenly the upswing starts to look a bit disturbing, you know?
Yeah.
You see him doing some amazing gymnastics, some, I think very well disguised stunt guys, stunt doubles doing the gymnastics.
Well, do you remember when they did the Jurassic Park, The Lost World?
Oh God, I'm afraid
and Jeff Goldblum had that black daughter. And do you remember when she starts doing all the gymnastics work in that scene?
Yeah, yeets a velociraptor.
Why could I couldn't help but think of that scene as he was doing all that. I'm like, Did Spielberg like throw in some sort of like Easter egg by getting her to do all that?
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that the sequel to Jurassic Park would have his wife's daughter just. I nearly went his wife's son, just automatic. It's so automatic. Oh dear, just yeet a velociraptor. A silly film with a very good cast, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
this bit was horrible.
Yeah. In short, the they start making his skin bad like pretty quickly. I noticed. So we should,
Yeah.
because we want to be brief here. Basically, Act 2 is about he has his upswing, but then almost immediately starts kind of decaying. So he's got the amazing strength, but you start to see him decay just from like his skin gets bad. You can see more of those little fly hairs. You have pretty darn good effects on the fingers. Like if you're looking at them,
too good.
It's
Yeah,
too good.
Oh, so you had a good reaction to this then?
By good, I don't normally get grossed out by stuff, right? Because I've seen enough horror movies, but Jesus wept when I saw him like bite his first fingernail off, and then it did a close up on his finger.
And then he squirts from.
Oh yeah. Why? Oh my god.
My lunch nearly came up again.
It's the old 1-2 punch. You think you've had enough,
Yeah.
and you think it's just a nail, but then the squirt. Oh dear. No,
I mean, the squirt I could handle. It was the nail though. It just pulling the nails out. Fudge, man.
body horror knows how to do this.
Yeah.
It's these detail. It's not just someone comes and stabs you. It has to be a creative kind of pain that you can really imagine. But it's just like more extreme and more detailed than you'd expect. So things like a nail coming off, a tooth coming off. In Black Swan, the finger, that sort of bit of skin on the fingernail pulling back. It's like, it's these really horribly tangible details that you can empathize with that just make you instantly shudder and sympathetically react. But there's another thing about body horror that we should probably talk to now about the sort of symbology of it. Because body horror is almost always about the sort of decaying of the self, like you coming apart. It's often your internal state or sense of self coming apart being represented by you physically coming apart.
That's it,
And this always, like, this is kind of strengthened by the fact that body horror almost inevitably has a scene just like this one where someone is looking at themselves in a mirror as they kind of take themselves apart.
Yeah.
Think also Poltergeist. You know?
Well, I mean, in this film in particular, he goes on to explain later on that the medicine cabinet's no longer a medicine cabinet, but it's like a museum of the old Brundle. The old arcades, and I'm sure I see his Winky Doodle in there.
Yes, I thought I did as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty. Cronenberg would do it.
Yeah. Because I mean, he's a bit of a free spirit walking around the house naked by that stage. Because obviously he can't really wear clothes, but
and you don't see any.
You saw the ear. Was it the ear? Yeah.
Lots of teeth.
Lots of teeth.
No angle of the dangle.
No
Nothing
angle
to
of the
upset
dangle.
the BBFC there. Yeah, so this is a thing. Like, it always has to be someone seeing themselves come apart and often taking themselves apart. And that kind of lends itself, like, this whole thing of him decaying, which I think the next image I've got is just the next stage of his decay. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. There we go. It kind of feeds into the metaphor here, because something I find quite interesting about The Fly, if you think of it as almost like a modern Frankenstein, not just in the sense of like someone makes a creature, but the idea that Frankenstein is the modern Prometheus. You know, Prometheus has taken a technology from the gods. So whenever you take this sort of almost magical technological advancement, you have a punishment from the gods. Yes, that is at heart a lot of Frankenstein. Okay. Now, in this one, what I find really interesting, the 80s, it's not that when you mess with nature, when you steal from the gods, as it were, that you get punished in the form of a monstrous creature. I like the idea that the damage is done to you. It's internalized and not externalized.
Okay.
Which is asking the question for me. I have a very Luddite bias. Okay.
Yes.
One too many Ted K books. But the idea that you're doing all this technology, what is it doing to us? That's a kind of theme that I think is in there. That question is in The Fly, is this technology may have magical, amazing advancements, but it does impact on us as humans. It does have an impact on who we are.
This image just represents Twitter right now, doesn't it? This is what Twitter's doing to us.
Kind of.
I thought you were going to say check marks reacting
check
to
marks.
Elon Musk.
There's not enough seething and coping in this image.
No,
I know.
It is an interesting one because it's sort of an odd pivot, is in that he is getting worse, and he's getting so worse, and then he just kind of turns it around, and suddenly he's on the mend.
That's a good observation as well, actually, from me, Mike. But it's not just like him physically deteriorating.
Yeah.
But it's also the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw how clean and pristine, relatively speaking, his apartment, lab, whatever you call it. Because I mean, he was living wherever he was working, and wherever he was working was quite a remote, sort of like dingy place. But he made it look presentable.
Yeah.
And just looking at that image there, I mean, it's all just gone to heck, basically.
Yeah, the detritus builds up notably over the course of the film, and it's very good at also in describing his inner state humour. It's a good catch.
And also notice he's also now wearing the same clothes for consecutive days.
Yeah,
they made that little reference to it, and it's like, oh no, different, same clothes but different day of the week, same style of clothes, and now he's literally wearing the same clothes every single. Yeah, he's literally wearing the same clothes.
Yeah,
for consecutive days.
I should note we have skipped over one thing that kind of breaks the film up in an interesting way, because there's a little bit of a time jump to this image, and that's the scene where he basically he's had an argument with Ronnie. He was hyped up, and he basically acting like he was on coke because he had so much energy, and he wants her to go through the transformation. She won't do it. And so he's like, sod off. And then he goes to pull some totty in a local inn.
It's a hell of a strong look he's gone out with as well. Just the trousers and just a leather jacket. Like, he doesn't have a shirt or anything.
No.
And he's just like, I'll just arm wrestle some people, and then he breaks the dude's arm.
Oh, that was brutal.
And it's like, I'm taking this skank home. And then when they're done, he's like, right, you're going through the teleporter. And she's like, oh, but why don't we just bang again or have some breakfast? It's like, no, teleport. And then Ronnie's like, they're like, oh, you're going a bit nuts, dude. You need to stop. But yeah, when he tells her to go again, that's when he obviously has the fingernail scene, and then deteriorates again. So he's had to call her saying, basically, I'm dying. Please come round.
Yeah. We were Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was to say because he's thinking at this stage it's like an aggressive form of cancer, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. We were noting before the stream started just how many few locations this film has, and sort of appreciating that it does take these little moments to break it up. I do find it funny that he manages to take this. Both Ronnie and this woman from the bar back to his place in what it looks so sketchy. It's so sketchy.
I know,
and they just
right?
go along with it. Like,
yeah, I mean, you see the place from the outside. I was thinking when I saw the outside of that building, right? I thought of the Yorkshire Ripper because he would take some of his victims to places that look like that.
Yeah, it does scream like you're coming in for a strudel snuggle.
I'm thinking, I'm thinking like, hello and welcome to the channel type stuff, you know?
Yeah. I didn't actually say this when I got this up because I've got this note in the image title here, but I thought like another director might have taken a bit of time and actually tried to make you feel genuinely afraid for Veronica a bit here. Like there are lots of things like the approach to the lab looks creepy. If they'd have done the music to make it creepy, you could have had some sudden tension like, oh, is she actually in danger? And then this bit here, I've got a clip because he's just holding the padlock to the door in a way that implies he's going to lock her in. It. And then they don't. I don't know. It doesn't have to happen. The film isn't weaker for not doing it, but I just thought it was kind of an opportunity there to try and make the start quite scary. But yes, let's move on because we're just seeing he goes into a big decay spiral here, and he gets even worse. You have her film him as he tries to explain what's going on. You're quite sympathetic to him.
He's really playful about it. It's like because he's trying to sell it to kids as well. It's like it's like a really gross YouTube video where it's like, hi, welcome to the Bundlefly channel. Here's what vomit dropping is.
But before we get into digesting these donuts, if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload.
NordVPN are sponsoring me. Type in product code BUZZ to get 20% off.
Well, you don't think he'd get that HelloFresh money? I don't know.
Well, I mean, definitely not, because I'm sure some of his viewers might be watching in areas that are region locked, and so it's a good way to get into that kind of content.
Yeah, all right, easy TCG. They haven't given me any money. If Nord want to sponsor this stream, they're very welcome to. I'm just kidding. I'm holding out for Shudder, but. This is a really nice transition as well, that you go from her film to suddenly you're Stathis watching it in her apartment again, you note.
Yeah, I mean, when you said before the transitions are a bit sudden, I didn't really know what you meant, but then I thought of this bit and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a bit...
Oh, no, I love that. I just meant literally the scene stops too early.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I thought this was really nicely done as a way to carry over, and it's also... It's just nice that you're in this state where the monster is on screen, but you're sympathetic towards him. And it's going to become tragic, but right now, he's got your sympathy.
Yeah, he reminded me of Gollum, when he's eating the fish raw, and everyone's like, oh, that's gross, and he just turns around and smiles. It reminded me of that. That's what Brundlefly felt like at this point.
Hang on, is that... Because I'm reading Lord of the Rings at the moment.
Oh,
yes,
Two Towers, I think.
All right, so that'll be the next one. Thanks. I'll forget by then.
Oh, it's in the film. I've not read the books.
I've not seen the films. I'm going through the book, but because
Sesame, to be fair.
But I'm doing it the other way. I've got the trilogy, but I haven't watched them yet. But I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go through the books first. So I'm about halfway through the first one.
Yes.
Good on you. I found it's a slow start, but then you're hooked. But let's we should not risk Super Nanny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're just seeing the deterioration. But it's after this that we get I'd say we get the pivot to the third act after this. Would you agree? After Ronnie announces that she's pregnant.
She's up the Hillary. She's up the Hillary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dufferino.
Oh mate.
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking at that moment?
In the gynecologist's office, it's like, oh, there's something else in there, and it's big, and I'm like, oh god, I don't even want to know. But I didn't expect like a human-sized maggot to be pulled out. Oh.
Imagine finding that in your bin.
By the way, I should
I mean,
point out,
these.
guys, do we recognise the gynecologist here?
Yes, that is David Cronenberg.
He looks like the new Riddler.
Yep, he likes to get a sneaky cameo in.
But that is,
Yes.
yeah, Cronenberg.
Funnily enough, that was Geena Davis's idea for David Cronenberg to appear in this film in between her legs. I'm just going to leave that there.
Nice.
Ooh.
No wonder her and Jeff didn't
It didn't work
stay
out.
together. Yeah.
Oh no.
I was going to say as well, with regards to the giant maggot. I mean, these dragon dildos are just going too far these days. They're all motorized now as well. Just.
Oh god. I will show you them. I think I do have the maggot actually. This was in several of the development scripts. They really liked the idea of the monstrous pregnancy. I'm going to be. This caught me out because I did not remember it, but I am working, as you guys probably know, I'm working on a thing about pro-life and pro-choice themes and messaging in horror. I completely forgot that this was in, and this is there's kind of a recurring theme of monstrous pregnancies, and yeah, I totally forgot that this was in here. But they're also very direct in their language. They don't have to couch it here, so she's just literally saying after this that she wants an abortion and she needs it out of her. But the sort of pro-choice messaging in horror film often comes with a sort of monstrous pregnancy of either a demon or a creature like this. It's quite a repeated theme. But that's getting into another video. But
I was going to say, I mean, this certainly kind of makes the pro-choice argument a little easier in that regard, because you're not dealing with a human life per se. That is a giant fly.
Yeah, it's the main reason they use that messaging is like you're saying, yeah, I've kind of got a horrific basilisk in me here. You'd be like, oh yeah, we can sort that for you. You know, it's a way of, it makes it very persuasive to the average audience.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, it's a deep dive into a different topic. But if you haven't seen the movie, this bloody thing wriggles around in the most disgusting way. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, and then it turns out it's a dream.
When you mentioned about the when you mentioned about the dildo, Haryan, I did actually, because again I've been watching The Office recently as well, and I think it was the first one of the seasons. This is the UK version for the Americans, and there's one scene where David Brent's having a chat with people in his office, and he lifts up this bit of paper, and there's like a dildo there that was left, like a vibrator there that was left by one of the other girls because it was her birthday and she got it as a present. Yeah. And he goes out into the office and he's like, "Whose is this? Whose is this?" And then as he's sort of giving his lecture about, funny, but what have we learned? And then the thing turns on. He's like, oh god, how'd you switch it off? And he's like pushing the buttons and stuff, and it starts spinning, and it starts spinning faster. It just gives it back to the woman. It's incredibly awkward. This reminded me of that.
Oh dear. It convinces her to abort, and effectively her decision to do that. There's a little convoluted way about how Seth here finds out. I mean, she goes to visit him and he is really decaying.
Teeth are out, and it's also established that he needs to gene slice.
This is where the Baboon Cat Scene happens, by the way. Where he's testing his idea.
Did you notice around his face at the moment? You can see, in fact, even in my avatar, but you can start to see like the outline around his face. That's where the fly eyes were starting to come through. Love that.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's such good detail. You also find yourself wondering, like, oh my gosh, how much worse is it going to get?
Yeah, wasn't there like extra? I heard there was not deleted. I don't know if it was deleted scenes as such, but there was supposed to be like extra, like prosthetics and stuff. Like he was supposed to have had a leg grow out of him, and all this other stuff as well. Yeah.
I think they were talking
Comes
about
up and he
that.
turns
Yeah.
it off. Yeah. Oh god, because he's got like I forgot he had in his medicine cabinet. He's replaced it with just bits of him that have fallen off.
Yeah, his little
So
museum of
grim.
Brundle.
Yeah.
Yeah, including his well,
Angle dangle.
yep, the old appendage. We're pretty darn sure he tickled it. Oh dear. Also, this is impressive.
Sorry, the 20-something-year-old babooner.
Oh, Bilbo stealing comment of the stream.
Right.
Time. Well done.
That image you've got there, you need to sort of Britisher that up a little bit.
What, like, boy, your love, fancy some crumpet and a cuppa?
I'm thinking the Britisher.
Oh, the British.
No, the old hat and the outfit. We can fit that on there.
We can probably do that. What?
The old monocle.
Yeah, we can. I haven't used the Britisher to censor anything in ages. Oh, we should do that. If we got some next time we got a film with loads of bubs in, I'll use him again. If you don't remember, guys, I used to censor boobs with the Britisher's head over and over. Anyway, yeah, this, I think you do find yourself wondering how far is it going to go. I'm going to say all credit to Chris Wallace. I could tell the effects a bit more in this. Like, it's more obviously a suit, you know?
Yeah, it does the job, though, I think. I'm still disgusted by it. So.
Well, it's very good, but you do start to see, but it works and it's sold by a great committed performance. That it effectively is there to get the conflict in. Because to be honest, without this, effectively, the plot is very simple. You're waiting for him to mutate and die. This actually, this decision of hers to abort and him to intercede is a very, forgive me. Oh, sorry, coof brain here. I messed up. This gets you into a much more vital conflict. So it's a very good decision. Although I've got to say, this is one of my massive problems with the film. I thought that him actually breaking into the doctor's office was so damn goofy, and it really annoyed me.
Jumped through the window.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, how did he know which room she was in?
Well, I mean, it was the middle of the night. It was probably the only light on in the gynecologist's room.
Oh, maybe,
this is the thing that got me. I mean, I get, excuse me, I get the urgency to get the abortion, but like, couldn't she have waited until the morning?
Well, given he's accelerating so much in terms of age.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, she doesn't know if.
How
well,
long
she's saw a maggot come out of her, and it's kind of like that. You know, a dream that could be basically her subconscious telling her that, oh, this is growing pretty big, get it out. Or not necessarily get it out.
Yeah, to be fair, that's quite a good point. I didn't think of that. Because again, the sequel, I mean, it was fully developed by the time it was 5. So
yeah,
I think the urgency. I think they should have maybe started to stick like pregnancy prosthetics on her, maybe to sort of highlight that.
Sell it a bit more. Yeah.
That would have been nice. Murgoot, that is a great shout. The Skeleton Key is actually on Netflix now, and is seriously underrated. If you guys want a good film, Skeleton Key, really enjoyed it. John Hurt is wasted in it, but I could go for that. I could really go for that. Yeah, so it's a little goofy that he manages to bring her back. I don't really like it, but I can get over it. But it does get us very quickly to our finale. And Stathis Baran's coming into his own with a gun. And as a firearm has been mentioned, I'll turn over to Haryan for firearm analysis.
It's a double-barreled shotgun. It's the only gun I've actually fired in my life. Generally used for sporting purposes or hunting purposes. I was quite surprised he had a gun at all, to be honest, but it was quite cool that it came in the case, deconstructed, and they, you know, it was simple to put together. You put it on, clip it in, put the wooden handguard on. But yeah, it was a shotgun, and bullet autism made me very happy because 2 shots were fired from a double-barrel shotgun, and I'm like, yay, thank you, film, for not going overboard with it.
Him.
Yeah,
like he's an executive
kind of
corporate guy.
classy.
You know, he would have something just decorative. that he would have to painstakingly put together that he doesn't use very often, if ever. That it's mostly just decorative.
He might even go hunting for like every. Well, you'd probably use a rifle for. Well, no, you can use a shotgun if you're bird hunting, but he might go turkey hunting for all we know. So it's not out there to have because it's quite a easy gun to get. One of the easier ones to get in Britain for clay pigeon shooting. So I was like, oh, I mean, I got confused at first. I didn't realise he had the case with him, so I rewound because I'm like, where did he get the gun? But now he bought it, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty badass, to be honest.
Look, he's a Chad. He's a complete Chad.
He's gonna kidnap my woman, pump shotgun.
He was actually just walking into his Brundle's shower, I think, but he thought he'd rescue her while he's there.
To be fair, it'd be pretty Chad if you. Imagine if he just went in naked with only the gun. That'd be so Chad.
And a bar of soap.
Get Carter style.
Yeah, exactly. So he can't, but he gets ambushed from the ceiling, from the ceiling. So he's already down. He's already kind of trapped, and then he gets his hand puked on, which he loses. And while he's in shock about that, his ankle gets puked on, and then it gets that torn off as well. While Veronica comes in a bit later and says, "Please stop." She's on the roof actually, which I'm a bit like, why?
How'd you get there? Yeah,
it's a bit awkward staging, to be honest, that he's just dropped her off there.
It's kind of like, well, it's almost implied that in the time it took Brundlefly to run with her from the hospital to the roof, that you know, this what's it called, Stathis had time to go home, pick up his shotgun, change. Did he? He might not have changed his clothes actually, but pick up his shotgun and then walk in there. And it's almost like they came back at the same time, and that's why he got the drop on him. But it wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. It was a bit clunky.
I should point out that Susan has demonetized the stream. I wonder if it's images like this.
Can we just call Stanivis or whatever he's called? Can we just call him Hank Scorpio?
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. You know who I thought he was?
Go on.
I don't know if you got the impression as well, but Die Hard, the Hans.
Oh.
I thought he was that guy.
No way.
I couldn't get that out of my head for a while. Yeah.
Oh my god, what's the guy's name? What's the actor's name?
Oof. Get Googling. Haryan's not going to know. Well,
no, it's bloody... It's bloody... Harry Potter. What was his name?
Daniel Radcliffe.
No, not Rickman.
No, Alan Rickman. That's who I'm thinking of. Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's another guy. It's another guy in it.
That's cool.
Anyway.
I thought Alan Rickman, and I couldn't remember the bloody name.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the dissolving effect again. It's creative gore. It's the last thing you expect. It's the hand and then the ankle. You know, areas like I said. You can just imagine the pain to them that much more because it's not something you're kind of desensitized to, like a knife to the heart or a knife to the back. It's, oh god, the ankle's being dissolved. Oof. It's very novel, and that makes it much more visceral for you. Oof. Again, this is Cronenberg's excellent creativity in making this such a memorable film.
Yeah, Hans Gruber. Sorry, I'm reading the chat again. Hans Gruber, yes, is Alan Rickman, yeah.
Yeah.
But you were thinking of someone else.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, there's a sleazy co-worker who bangs the secretary and sells Bruce Willis out. And he just has that line, Hans, Booby. I just remember from, like, a drinking game where when he says that, everyone has to down. Then he gets to put his plan into action. You know, he's decided that he's going too far into the Brundlefly needs to be diluted with additional human. So he's going to take the woman he loves, put her in one telepod.
Yeah, with the baby as well.
With the baby. He'll go in the other and they'll merge.
Yeah.
logical plan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Should
he hasn't really thought it through. Really, I mean, he doesn't know what the end result's going to be.
He doesn't really have time
No.
either. All he knows is that he's dying, and he's dying pretty soon. And oh my god, the fly looks horrific.
Oh, would you like to see some fly? I've got some
Well,
fly
I was had it playing on my other screen, but I did enjoy. Because really, when we say Chad comes in to save the day, it's kind of a misnomer, really. He only gets one shot off, and he loses a leg and an arm. And the shot does sever the connection between her telepod and the main, her telepod. But yeah, she gets out. Brundlefly doesn't quite get out of his pod in time, so he gets teleported. It's just like, oh, he doesn't say anything. It's just kind of there in pain. She tries to aim the shotgun at it. It's like, I can't do it. Brundlefly grabs it with his little fly pincer, aims at his head, and she's like, no, I still can't. And then she does it anyway.
I know, right?
Well, she's gathering up the strength too.
She does struggle. It's a tiny bit awkward that you have that I can't. No, I'll go and do it. But I think she sells it.
Oh yeah, because the fly looks up at her, and it's a model obviously, but it's obviously communicating to her, please kill me.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you if you got spliced with the telepod?
Well, exactly. So so then the head gets blown off, which is probably pretty accurate for a shotgun, I think. So I was happy with that as well.
It was a massive explosion. I mean, this is why 80s horror is always just such a good time. You get these practical effects that are extreme, memorable. I'm seeing a request for a Gatsby pick. I don't know if I can. I'll have a look for you guys.
But now that's the film. Head blown off. She cries a bit. That's it. It's like, oh, he needs medical attention. Where's the epilogue?
It's the 80s. No need for an epilogue.
Yeah,
it's all resolved.
Because this wasn't a film that begged for a sequel, was it? Really?
No.
But we still got one, and it was garbage, according to Wikipedia. So, yeah, that's The Fly.
It goes out strong. It doesn't need to do much more. I think a lot of directors would be tempted to do an epilogue. And maybe you'd get the spooky. Actually, she decided not to abort in the end, and she's left wondering whether the baby. I mean, this is in the original. One of the original proposed scripts is she doesn't have the abortion, but she's then left wondering whether the baby was conceived before Brundle went in the teleporter or afterwards.
Right. See, I thought that.
That could have been the old sequel bait, but Cronenberg is pacey and does not go for it.
There's your pro-lifer argument there as well. Well, you don't know. You don't know.
You kill the child of God.
Well, this will be part of a much larger video, but the pro-life, horror films with a pro-life message don't use monstrous pregnancies ever. They use completely different symbolism to do it, which is quite interesting, but would derail us, I think. By the way, Mima, I have got a Gatsby pick for you. I've gone for the first one I can find, and I'll get Gatsby up while we'll talk about our closing thoughts for the film and get your scores in. So have some Gatsby. He's coming up any second.
We need a palate cleanser.
There's your palate cleanser. Yeah. There's the king.
Oh,
there's his wonderful face. Yeah. I could try and go first, but I'm a bit muddle-headed. I'll go first, so I've got the energy.
Yes, do it. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's strong. I think it's a really great update. I'd say it's an interesting remake, and you really should see the original because it's just so telling about the setting that you just have a wholesome family man in the 1958 one, and then you have a kind of loner guy in the 80s. It's the times they're made in are very revealing, I think. But I do prefer this film's approach in terms of saying a lot more, meaning a lot more, in terms of what technology does to us, in terms of addressing Brundle's hubris, the fact that he gets so concerned about his identity has been lost and he realizes he isn't Seth Brundle anymore. He's now a composite creature. And that is just a lot more deeper and more interesting. And this slow transformation is a lot more interesting to watch because you wonder just like how gross is it going to get? And then they deliver some amazing transformations at the end, like when his jaw is ripped off and you get suddenly a big animatronic transformation. That is just incredible. You know, it's very crowd pleasing. So my complaints about it, you've heard. I don't like the editing. I think the music is missing quite a few times, and we could have done with a lot more. And I thought it was quite clunky how she was rescued from the abortionist. But we didn't actually say. Sorry, guys. The abortionist. If you didn't recognize him, that was a cameo from a Cronenberg regular, Les Carlson. I'm just going to get him up quickly. Forgive the very zoomed in picture. This guy. So he plays the doctor in this, and you last saw him in Videodrome as Barry Convex. I thought I really should mention that.
Right.
It's that guy.
Figure it out. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
We'll have some gatters again. Or maybe I'll get some mochi up. How about that? Yeah, so my quibbles are quite minor. I'll leave them up for the moment. My quibbles are quite minor. I think it's really carried by the effects and the performances. It's very memorable. Even if it's not super deep, it's very memorable. I'm going to go with a pretty darn strong 9 out of 12. Oh, and with a heck of a lot of ketchup.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And then...
Is it my turn?
TCG, if you'd like to go.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll keep this nice and short and sweet because I'll keep it short and sweet, just like the film. I didn't actually really have too much of a problem with the editing. I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but for me, it felt like it was more like a document of the transformation, which sort of tied in with what Jeff's character was trying to ask Geena Davis's character to do. So I thought that worked quite well. I'm an absolute sucker for practical effects, and they absolutely delivered here. One of the few horror movies that really made me like weird out with some of the scenes, like the nail coming out, the tooth, the throwing up on the hand. Just some really good stuff there. It's a compact film, and it does a good job. I didn't know at the time of initially seeing this, or when we went to review it, that this was actually like a remake. So I'll definitely go and check out the original. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I don't really think there's much I could say. There's a couple of like small little minor details here and there that don't ruin the film, but could be sort of cleaned up a little bit. But you know, I'd give it 10. I'd give it a 10 with your big old dollop of ketchup.
Nice.
Any cheese? Nah.
I think that's fair. I think it's very fair. Years always with the out of 11. You're unique, Years. You're unique. Never change. Also, everyone, just in case, actually mixed up, you can have a little bit of mochi, a very, very peculiar little chicken. Haryan.
Yes.
That's
me.
Yes. Let's have your thoughts and your score for The Fly.
Yeah, as we keep saying, the plot was simple but very satisfying. And because of that, they could have a really good through line with everything making sense generally. The hang-ups with the technology and well, I've not mentioned the technology actually, but the baboons could have been guinea pigs instead. But it's like, oh yeah, I get it. They need to be more human-like. But I also thought it was weird that like he'd type in like most of the commands, and then every now and then would just speak into the box, and it'd obviously get his voice and say, oh well, this is a command. Whereas kind of usually when you do something like that, it's you type in the command and then say the phrase again to do it, just for security reasons and all that to confirm. But I mean, I can get over that. But really like the character work with especially Veronica, and I really liked what they did with Jeff Goldblum's Seth turning into a fly, turning into a gymnast at first, getting addicted to sugar, wanted to bang all the time, going for hours, which for some reason you can't win with women, can you? Oh, it went on for too long. Shut up. But and then the sleazy editor actually then having a turnaround and being the hero, because he does care about her the whole time. As it turns out, he's not just there for the casual side of things. I liked all the characters, like the plot line, simple as I say, just a few niggles here and there. Don't think it beyond like prosthetics of, for the way the fly looks. I don't think plot itself does anything too spectacular, so it can't quite get to the 10s and 11s, but still pretty good film, pretty decent film. Definitely recommend. 9 out of 12 with all that cheese for Jeff Goldblum's excellent performance as an eccentric scientist. So there you go.
Nice.
Dude, you have no idea how happy I am with that review.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that. That was genuine smiles, man. Yeah.
No, that was lovely.
All right. You want a prediction?
It's not a complex story, but it tells it well. Yes, prediction.
All right. Prediction for Haryan Never Trust a Journo Gláeddyv. Haryan enjoyed the fly-in tone, but will be aware of multiple story cheats/contrivances. Example, Seth Brundle's initial showing a journo a thing he wants her to not write about, and the creepy boss relationship being very unrealistic. The baboon disappearing, though this is explained in a deleted scene. Brundle Fly's ability to track Veronica, and Hank Scorpio to the abortionist and get her back. I can't pronounce it. Hank Scorpio not assembling his shotgun until he enters the dangerous apartment. Okay. He might also find Veronica's connection to Brundle very hard to believe, but will like Geena Davis's performance. I will likely convince him of the editing and sound issues, but he'll overall enjoy The Fly as a gruesome and inventive tale that moves quickly to a powerful conclusion. The gore will catch him out, as will the use of the dissolving enzyme, getting a wonderfully horrified reaction. Overall, 8 out of 12.
Yeah. Very
Bogus.
good prediction.
That's it. Solid.
Yeah, I think I was maybe guessing. I think the only thing that I was fairly sure you'd have read to was just the why does he not assemble his gun until he's in the dangerous place? That was
that's a good point.
That's about it. That's all I've got.
Hang on. Did Proper Horror Show just out autism you there, Haryan?
Yeah. I miss things. I always miss things. I'm fine with that.
It's because I have to think, what would Haryan notice? That I did pick up more stuff, because otherwise I'm just like, so the gay reading in The Fly is, etc.
Oh no.
I didn't find one.
Thank God.
Okay. All right, well, that brings us to basically the end of the stream. But before you go, we're trying something new. You will know that as you reach the end of a stream, I give you a little treat. I give you the first announcement of our next horror film. I announce our horror homework. Well, we're switching on to a brand new arc. And I thought I'd try telling you about the whole arc in advance. Sort of see what you guys think. So I've prepped a little thing for our next arc for April 2022. And that is going to be this. Disturbing footage.
Nice.
Yes. Now, what the heck do I mean by disturbing footage? Isn't it all disturbing footage? Kind of. What I mean is a special type of story. This is not found footage. That is very separate genre. But I'm talking about the kind of story where someone finds something, in this case, video or recordings, that really messes with them. And they basically have to investigate where it comes from, uncovering disturbing secrets. Okay? Now, I toyed with a few. I wanted to do Peeping Tom, but it didn't quite fit. So Ring is in there. 8mm is in there. We're getting some Nicolas Cage on. And Broadcast Signal Intrusion.
We covered the trailer to that, didn't we?
Exactly. The second I saw
Yes.
that trailer, and that trailer freaked me out.
Freaky, innit? Yeah.
Yeah. Really freaky stuff. And I thought, we've got to give that a go.
Definitely.
You might be wondering, now there are some obvious things missing. For a start, I've only got 3 because I can only fit 3 in the arc this month, because we obviously had to carry over The Fly because of illness. There are some alternatives that you could do as bonus watches, but I haven't included here. One obvious one is Videodrome. Like, Videodrome is the classic for this theme, but we already covered it in the 80s sci-fi horror arc. I just really wanted to make sure we covered Videodrome. The other obvious one, well, not so obvious, but a Michel Haneke film by the name of Caché, or Hidden. It's interesting, but I think it probably wouldn't work for this channel. But if you're interested, I'll include it as a bonus watch. So, and the mother of all obvious ones that should be in this arc and aren't is Cannibal Holocaust. I am going to talk about that film for the topic of the first entry for Ring. But we are not going to review it because of many reasons.
Is that Ring or Ringu? Is that the Japanese version we're doing? Or
Ringu? I thought we could go. Well, shall we take a vote, guys? Do you want to do the American or do you want to do the Japanese?
I mean, I'm happy to do the American just purely because of access. I reckon it'll be easy to get access to, but I don't mind. We should put it to the audience.
Chat. Do you want the Japanese or the American?
I don't trust Asian films after that Asian film arc. Just stay in.
That's fair enough. Mima, Patient 9 Patient 9 is a good shout. So in that one, if people haven't seen it, someone finds audio tapes. Session 9 is the one that Mergoot's got you on there. Session 9 is really good. We are going to cover it in a different arc. We're doing a psychological horror arc, and it's going to go in that. Is Patient 9 a different one? Interesting. Well, in Session 9, they discover. I'm sorry, you're referring to the Ring films. Oh gosh. Okay. He discovers audio tapes, and obviously there's like a get through them, get to the mystery. That's really good. But we're going to do that separately. So this is going to be packed. Okay, tell you what. We'll go with the American, but we will, like we did with the Carrie films, we'll extensively reference the Japanese, okay?
Sounds good. We'll do both.
All right. Watch both. We'll base it on the American and reference Japanese extensively. So that is the horror homework. Okay, folks. Oh, hi, Richard. All right, good to see you.
Hey, man.
Okay. well, that's your horror homework announcement. I've shilled plenty, but I'll just remind you that if you're interested in helping me make more ambitious projects, I have a subscribe star, and you're very welcome. You can find it in the description. I'll now thank my guests and ask you guys if you've got anything to shill. TCG, would you like to go first?
I haven't got anything this week, but I do plan on having a video out next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. UK time. I've noticed that my Kellyanne Bates video that I did close to a year ago, I think it was, has started to do the rounds again. It's had about 600 views in the last couple of days, so keep that up. Now, I titled that video An Unimaginable Ordeal because, quite frankly, it was. And I'm actually going to be doing like a second Unimaginable Ordeal video, and that will be the one that comes out next week. So if you want to kind of familiarise yourself with what I view as an unimaginable ordeal, go and check out Kellyanne Bates. Although, viewer discretion.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Yeah.
The one I'm going to cover is no better.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Bilbo. You're an absolute star. You're a star. And you always win the comment. You always get the comment of the stream. Haryan, anything chill, sir?
Yes. I have a 2-hour video on my channel I released last week. Please go watch it. It took ages.
Oh gosh, yes, you did. I watched that.
Yeah, good. I hope you liked it. It's what, a 4-year-old video, I think, at this point, from what's she called, Maggie May Fish, because she had the worst take on Flight Club I think I've ever seen in my life, and then it turned out it was 50 minutes of her being an idiot so that she could say Trump bad. But just spoilers for Fight Club for anyone who's not seen that 20-year-old film. Basically, at the end, it's like it turns out that one of the characters isn't real and that the other one is, and she somehow mixes them up.
Yeah. No, I watched. I did watch your video. It's really good.
So many of her complaints were, "Why was this not the main character? This is bad because the main character is a different character." It's like, what? Why didn't you pay attention to the grocery store guy? What?
Yeah. She's like, oh, we don't get Marla's perspective. It's like, if you got Marla's perspective, it ruins the film, you idiot.
Yeah.
And she's on about all this film theory stuff, like media theory. It's like, man, if this is what media theory is, I'll just get rid of it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Guys, it's a long video, but I highly recommend it. You get to laugh at a really stupid, backwards, full of projection interpretation,
women,
and hear an actual decent interpretation of the film, all in one. It's well worth your time.
So, So because of that, hopefully I'll get time to make a video tomorrow, but it should be a short one. I'm eyeing up an article that the Mallard did where they're like, the word woke's bad. And I could say it here because not many of them watch it, but it was a Guardian tier article, I thought. But I'm not going to give any spoilers for that. I think I'll be a bit nicer than that in the video. And then regional variations with Untitled Features channel tomorrow. And hopefully, if I can get guests for Friday, there should be a Laughing at the Guardian then.
Groovy.
So there you go.
Groovy.
That's all my shilling.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Bearing with me, helping me do this. I have been dying. But you guys are absolute stars. And thank you, chat. It's been really lively tonight. You've been great. I've really enjoyed it. You've kept the spirits up. So you have the horror homework. I hope you like this new way of announcing the whole arc. And I'm going to have to leave it there and go and marinade in Lemsip. Yeah, I'm just going to gargle it. Just
don't
down
turn
it.
into a fly.
Phrasing.
Yeah, hinter die Krawatte schlucken, the whole pint of it. Okay, let's leave it there, and I'll sign off as I always do. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
#RockGang.
#ShowGang.
#dying gang.